Hi guys, today I would like to share a bit about my trip from Hang Zhou, the things that I enjoyed there and some of the kind of not so good experiences. We went to Hang Zhou in summer for 7 days, so it was really hot. So we got around just using public transport, the subway, mainly the subway, and taxis, and sometimes buses. But buses can be fairly inconsistent. Their timing, so sometimes you think the bus will be coming, but they end up coming really late, like half an hour later. So sometimes it's easier to just use a taxi. So if you want to get around Hang Zhou, you should get a map. Well, when you're getting on buses, it doesn't help that much, right? But you should know like which area you're going to and what area that has. It's quite a big city, and to be honest, we weren't pretty sure where we were going every day, and we kind of just like roamed around like different areas, like to the north, to the south. And then when we saw like some shops that we wanted to go to, we would like say, let's stop here. So for some days we just took the bus. So the bus is around 2 yuan per person. It's better if you have loose change with you, as the bus drivers don't give you change, and you put the money into this like tin or box thing that you see when you go up the bus, and the bus driver can see if you're putting in money because on his side of it is transparent. The buses have the same exact charge however many stops you go. So if say like you're going only for like one stop, you still pay 2 yuan, and if you go from like the first stop to the last stop, it's still like 2 yuan. So we use that to kind of get free air conditioning and just to look around the city. And for subways, we used it when we were certain that we wanted to go this other place, and we wanted to be there like fairly quickly. But bear in mind that subway stations have long queues at times, and so you should know like which stop you're going to, so that when it's your turn, like you don't waste too much time, or else you get like complaints. And there's always that security like scanning your bag thing in subway stations, so always give yourself like extra time if you're meeting someone, let's say. And taxis, please make sure you have enough like loose change to give them the exact amount. Some taxi drivers will tell you, I don't have any change for you, or like, I don't have like this 1 yuan, like, and they'll like take it for granted that you're giving it to them, kind of, or like taking advantage of you. Yeah, it's actually not good though. But not all taxis do that. Only like you might meet a few. If taxis tell you, I don't know where this is, like when we were looking for this museum and he told us that, I'm sorry, I'm from the north side of Hang Zhou, so I don't know about the south side. North, I mean, he said he didn't know about the east side of Hang Zhou. Like, I don't know where this museum is. So he wasted 20 minutes of our time, and we just like got off there, as we knew it would cost us around like 30 yuan to get to the museum from our place. And the place that he took us was maybe like 20 minutes walk from the museum, and we decided to get off there anyway because it was 30 yuan already on the meter. Yeah, so make sure you do not get scammed by taxi drivers. Some taxi drivers are really friendly though. And before you go to China, if you don't have the WeChat app, you can always download it. You'll find it really helpful. Because if you plan to get a phone number there, like a local number, some stores they have free members, but you need the WeChat app to scan the barcode. There's a QR barcode, And to register to be a member, sometimes they require you to key in your phone number, so it needs to be a local Chinese one. I haven't tried if you can do it using an international number, but you can always try that. So that it sends, like, when you register, it sends you this tag code, and usually you get like discounts or like added free stuff, I guess. Yeah, so make sure you get that sorted before you leave. And food wise, it's fairly cheap there, and you actually can get Western food, but I don't think it's that authentic, and for the price you pay for it, I'd rather be eating like buns and rice. So most of the food there you'll find are really like savory or sweet. So buns can have red bean paste in them, or custard, which are the sweet type, or you could have like the savory, like the meat or the veg type. And shopping wise, even randomly walking into one of the shopping malls, we were like, wow, there's so many shops here. And now I'd like to talk about some of the not so nice experiences. So for me personally, I don't really like such tight spaces. So when we were in supermarkets at night time, it's really crowded, and in the daytime it's actually better. But when it's like really crowded, you start to see some of the normal behaviors of the locals. Or maybe they're not locals. I can't tell because they all speak Chinese. I'm sorry, and I can't tell if it's from Hang Zhou or not. You pretty much have all this noise with you, and it's normal to see quarrels happening. I remember the first day I arrived in like at night time, we went to Carrefour, and then there was this fight going on between the cashier and the customer, and I don't know what they were like fighting about. Maybe it was something to do with like the cashier not scanning the customer's member or something and lost points. Well, it sounded like something really serious. And people behind the customer, like there was still a big long queue, but both of them like was still like just like deep into this quarrel. And walking by, I actually found it quite interesting, and I didn't like it when people jump queues. At the same supermarket, we were lining up to pay, and then I was just like browsing, well, not browsing, but looking left and right, like kind of like observing people, and then suddenly this lady like decides to stand in front of my trolley because I left a gap for people to walk by. Like they couldn't go behind me because like behind me was like the shopping aisles already, and then so I left a little gap for people to walk by, and then she decided to stand in front of me, like in that gap. And then I kind of spoke loudly, like it said, "Ah, so you think you can cut queue?" And then she kind of like heard me, but then she acted a bit innocently. So after she heard me, like 5 seconds later, she kind of like turned around slowly, and she was saying, "Ah, I thought you were just looking around." And I was like, no. And so she like walked off, and then like she decided to cut another queue, and I saw like her like going to 3 different lanes, just looking for like the quickest lane to pay. It's quite funny. And another time that we saw cutting queues, well, when we were buying train tickets to EU. It's just, I don't know how people get used to it. Like, I guess they don't, but even just one day of it, I was like really annoyed. And I actually started a quarrel with 1 or 2 of them because we were lining up to pay for train tickets for the next day, because when we went to EU the first trip, we spent a long time lining up, so we decided that, oh, we should buy the train tickets in advance. So we went at night, so before dinner, so around 6 o'clock. We wanted to buy tickets for the next morning. We were lining up at the international counter, so they would have this like kind of sign saying passport holders, and then we're lining up, and then when it was our turn, like we were in front of the window, people decided to come beside us. I don't know why. Like they'll say, oh, I'm in a rush, my train's leaving in 5 minutes, or oh, please help me, I need this really urgently. And we're like, no. They would still like make up excuses, but in the end, I'm glad like our lane were pretty like set on that no, you cannot cut into our queue as you wish. And so yeah, it wasn't the best experience because I kind of like had a fight with them, because there's this hole that you put your money through so that on the other end the guy gets your money and can process your ticket, and then the people who wanted to cut queue, they just pretty much like shoved their own money in. I held the money and then I gave it back to them and said, no, do not cut queue. And then I pretty much raised my voice a bit the next few times, and then they said, I'm only telling you nicely. So it was good that we got that sorted. Even like at toilets as well, like they just like to jump queues. Like, you know how like when you go to toilets, you're meant to line up kind of beside the cubicles, not beside cubicles, like there's a row of toilets, and then you're meant to line up behind that row of toilets so that whoever lined up first goes to the cubicle that is free first. Does that make sense? But then somehow in China they decided a different thing, is that you line in front of the cubicle you decide. So it's kind of a luck thing, because sometimes people take a long time in their cubicle. I don't know if they're taking a dump or something, and you stand there and you see like next to you people who are lining up keeps changing, like that cubicle keeps being used like pretty quickly. And so I don't think it's the best lining up method, but I guess it's the best for maybe the country. I forgot to mention about the museums in Hang Zhou. So some of them do have entrance fees, but we found a few that are actually less advertised, I guess, are more for the local people, and they're actually like free. They are free. There was the silk one, and then the 国民博物馆 or something, like the museum for the people, and it's free. So that's a good thing, because in my country you have to pay to go into the museum. Even if you're local, you pay. It's meant to be a donation, but it's still money that you pay. But the downside of these free museums are most of them only have Chinese explanations, like the signs and the descriptions are all in Chinese. And even some of them I was like, what is this character? I've never seen this character. But yeah, if you can't read Chinese, it's okay, because you can still see the things being displayed, I guess, right? So yeah. And hygiene wise, be open that some people do not wash their hands after they go to the bathroom, or if they like pick their nose in public. It's quite common, I think. It's quite often that they spit on the ground. In China generally, they just think it's okay to spit. So don't be too shocked and just keep it to yourself if you're like really ugh. Yeah. well, that's all for today, and I hope you like the video. Feel free to comment and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. Bye!